Students, in lesson 1.6, we are going to be working on multiplying by one-digit numbers. So the essential question for this lesson is, how can you multiply by one-digit numbers? By the end of this, we want to be able to walk out of the lesson and feel like, yes, I can multiply by one-digit numbers. I'm going to start with the unlock the problem real world. It says each day an airline flies 9 commercial jets from New York to London, England. Each plane holds 293 passengers. So I'm going to circle 293 passengers, and I'm going to circle 9 commercial jets. If every seat is taken on all flights, how many passengers fly in the airline from New York to London in one day? So we're going to first use the strategy of using place value and regrouping to solve this particular problem. So we're going to estimate. 293 is very close to 300, so I'm going to do 300 times 9, and I know 3 times 9 is 27, so I know 300 times 9 is 270. So the reason why we estimate first is because what we're going to do at the end is we're going to check our final answer and compare it to our estimate and make sure that it's close to know that our answer is reasonable. Next, we're going to multiply the ones. So we have 3 ones times 9, and we get 27 ones. Next, we're going to write the ones and the regroup tens. So the 2 is the regroup tens, so that's what we write on top of the next place, which is the tens place. Next, step 3, we're going to multiply the tens. So 9 times 9 tens is going to give us 81 tens. And again, we're going to add the regroup tens that we had here. So when we do that, we have 8 plus... Oh, I'm sorry, boys and girls. Ugh. So students, 9 times 9 is 81, but what we're going to do is we're going to add the regrouped 2, so that would be 82, 83. So what we have now, boys and girls, is that we have 81 tens and 2 tens, and we got 83 tens. And these 2 tens were the ones that we regrouped and we added. Now we're going to write our answer here. We have 83, and we regroup the 8 in the hundreds place. Next, we're going to multiply the hundreds. 9 times 2 hundreds would be 18 hundreds. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the regroup hundreds. We have 18 hundreds and 8 hundreds. We get 26 hundreds. So we write the hundreds down as 26, and we know that in one day 2,637 passengers fly from New York to London daily. Our math talk, boys and girls, here on the side, we're going to do in class together. It says, describe how to record the 27 ones when you multiply by 3 by 9 in step 2. So we're going to talk about this in class. But it's important to start thinking about it now so that when it does come up in class, you can provide some answers and feel a little bit more prepared for the discussion. Next, boys and girls, it's asking us a mathematical practice. Students, it says mathematical practice reasonableness. How can you tell if your answer is reasonable? So what I could say is that I can compare my final answer to my estimate. Since 2,637 is close to the estimate, 2,700, the answer is reasonable. Next, we're going to do another example here, and this picture here on the side actually is of the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, was built for the 1889 World's Fair. It was the world's tallest man-made structure for 40 years. So we're going to talk about some flights from New York to Paris. So in this example, it says, a commercial airline makes several flights each week from New York to Paris, France. If the airline serves 1,978 meals on its flights each day, how many meals are served for the entire week? So it says to multiply a greater number by one-digit number, repeat the process of multiplying and regrouping until every place value has been multiplied. So we're going to do step one, we're going to estimate. And this is really important, boys and girls, that you start with estimating first, because remember, it's going to allow us to know if our answer is reasonable in the end. So 2 times 7 is 14, so we know that 2,000 times 7 would be 14,000. And the reason why we picked 2,000, because that's very close to 1,978, which is how many meals are served on the flight. So we're taking the amount of meals on the flight and we're multiplying by 7. Some of you might say, well, why 7? Well, boys and girls, 7 days are equal to 1 week, so that's why we are picking 7. 7 days is what we need to multiply, because they're serving that many meals each day, so we need to figure out for the total week how many meals it would be. So step one, we're going to multiply the ones. So we have 8 times 7, so 7 times 8 ones is 56 ones. So we're going to write the ones, and the 6 are in the ones place, and then we're going to regroup the tens, and that go over the 5. The 5 goes over the 7 in the tens place. Next, step 3, we're going to multiply the tens. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 7 times 7 is 49 tens. So we're going to add the regroup tens, so that was 49 tens plus the 5 tens that were there, and that gives us 54 tens. So we are going to write the tens, so the 4 tens, and we're going to regroup the hundreds. So we are going to regroup the hundreds to the next place value, which is the hundreds place value. Next, we're going to multiply the hundreds. 7 times 9 hundreds gives us 63 hundreds. We're going to add the regroup hundreds, so we have 63 hundreds plus the 5 hundreds that we're waiting to be regrouped, and we get 68 hundreds. So now we're going to write the hundreds, and then we're going to regroup the thousands. So what you'll see is that I'm going to take that and I'm going to regroup it over there. So we're going to regroup the thousands. Now step 5, it says multiply the thousands. So we're going to do 7 times 1,000, and we get 7 thousands. And we're going to add the regroup thousands, and we have 7 thousands plus 6 thousands, which gives us 13 thousands. So in 1 week, 13,846 meals are served on flights from New York to Paris. And we go back to our original thing in the beginning. What we did was we estimate. And we remember in the beginning, we came up with an estimate of 14,000 meals is what would be served. So when we look, we see that, well, our final answer of 13,846 is very close to our estimate of 14,000, so we know that our answer is correct. So in this lesson, it's very important that you show all your steps. As you can see that there were exactly 5 steps, so when we're looking at our homework, our classwork, and our notes, all 5 steps should be clearly displayed. Do a good job at taking notes this evening.